Hi guys, happy Witchy Wednesday. So, I know we've covered the fetch body before, but it was in complex terms, so it was kind of difficult to understand. It was difficult for me to even understand how we have 3 layers of ourselves instead of just 2. So this is a lot more a simplified explanation, and kind of how the 3 different bodies of the fetch body actually work. So we have the soul, their spirit, and then we have the fetch body, and then we have the body, the physicality of the body, the structure. So this is a lot simpler. Alright, now, in brief, literally this is going to be brief, the fetch can be seen generally as the manifestation of the, usually, cornisexual spiritual nature of the individual, often also appearing in an animal form, which can be worked with as a familiar. So that's the fetch body. That is the fetch. Now, he says, I realize that can sound confusing, and yes it is, so we can clarify a bit. Thank you, Nigel. Now, in traditional craft, as in general in Northern Western European lore and mythology, the individual is often seen as having 3, not 2 bodies or natures. So there is the physical one that we are here aware of, then there is the soul or the spirit, and then there is the, where did I go? Which is the immortal part of us that survives physical death, and then there is the fetch. Now the fetch acts as a companion, guide, tutor, helpmate, and guardian during our time on Earth. In some cases, it's seen as a female guardian spirit, and these are often passed on in the bloodline of certain families, similar to the tale of banshees, which would be beansides. Literally, beansides. So in Scots and in Irish lore. So if you're coming from Scotland or Irish lore like that, then you have that in your bloodline. Now, if the crafter is of Scots or Irish descent themselves, or practices a form of craft deriving from this lore, then the fetch may also be known as the co-walker, walking with you. So, and is seen as a type of a shadow or a doppelganger. That's kind of what I believe more so, a doppelganger, but then I believe about the animal, the animal, instinctual animal within us. That's what I kind of think, the fetch is as being, that kind of an animal of the individual witch, the doppelganger, or, the shadow of the individual witch, which is cool because when you're in the sun, when you're always in the sun, you're going to have cast shadows, so then you're going to be able to see your shadow, yourself, your fetch, which is, I think, is beautiful. Now, this form of fetch, this reminds me of Mean Girls? I don't know, wherever that word came from, fetch, I have no clue. So is seen as accompanying the crafter in their work and during their life, appearing more and more frequently towards the time of the person's death. So, Easter egg, let's go back to Sabrina, when Aunt Zelda dies, and the Banshee, right there, the wailing woman, that was pretty much, it kind of resembled her, so we can kind of see the lore steeped in there. Now, once the individual has passed over, this spirit then may become a guardian, tutor, or advisor to others in the family, or a magical path. So I think that's pretty interesting. I think that's neat that it does, its continuation goes, into the family. So now the fetch is often spoke of as the spouse or mate of the witch, and this reflects the intensely close bond that exists between them, or us, on both a physical and spiritual level. So, traditionally, it is quite possible for the witch to have a sexual relationship with their fetch self, and this portrays the alchemical wedding. So, if you guys have watched that movie, if you haven't, I suggest that you watch it. It's very intense, so just brace yourselves. Which unites the 2 halves of an individual into one spiritual whole, and this is the true goal of all magical practice. So, and that is integrating the masculine, the divine feminine, and the divine masculine within yourself, and transforming that, and finding wisdom through all of that, all of the negativity that happens within you, all of the body holds on to trauma and stress and all of that. make it work for you. So, through continued practice and study, the individual crafter reaches a stage whereby they have resolved the apparent contradictions of physicality and spirituality within themselves, so their so-called positive and negative natures, and have realized the entirety of their whole being. Now, this is, of course, exceedingly advanced and lengthy work, and beyond the scope of this book, of my notes. But hopefully a goal towards which all true crafters will aspire. Yeah, that is being completely, totally spiritually whole, spiritually and physically. So, as above, so below, as within, so without. That is exactly what that is about. It's actually really important. It's really important. Now, the fetch is usually worked with in much less lofty manner in most craft practice, and often has much more practical application. Now, very similar to the way in which the crafter would work with their animal familiar, and using similar techniques. So the fetch self often exhibits an animal form, which is where it is often confused with a separate animal familiar, but it is actually within us. So, this represents the pre-sentient animal nature of the individual. So, whatever you feel your animal nature is, that's what's going to come out as your fetch familiar, or your fetch. So, which in itself contains valuable knowledge and abilities. So, it has a lot to teach. In traditional lore, it was common for the witch to be given their familiar by the devil, or at one of the grand Sabbaths. Now, in truth, this represents the Horn Master of the Coven teaching the crafter how to contact their own fetch self, as presented in a totemic animal form. So, that's just the Grand Master, the Magister of the ceremony. Now, now that the fetch can exhibit an animal form, it is indicated of the deep unconscious nature of the individual. The crafter gains access to these deeper levels, and they are able to work with them gradually, bringing these powers and attributes to conscious levels. So it's really good to it's a lot of shadow work. It's very deep and it's dark, and it's going to take you a while. It could take you years, it could take you months, it could take you years, it could take you even like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So it's just, you have got to go slow with that. But I do like this. And we do have a hoozle right for communication with the fetch self. And the hoozle is actually a Cornish term for, a shared feast. And that's what's done after, pretty much everything that we do in traditional craft, after the compass is, drawn back up into us and dispersed into the universe and, directed back towards, thanking, different energies and different currents of energies that are coming into our space. That is that. So, that is actually, the hoozle is actually really good. It's a really, really different way, a different take on communicating with the fetch self. And this is actually, when we do go into this, when I go into this with you guys, it's a really neat, interesting ritual with the horn god, with the devil. Not, the devil in Christianity, you guys know that. But it's going to be very, very interesting because it's communion, it's a communication, it's a means to actually, develop that relationship with the fetch self, and it's so much easier than anything previously given. This is so much easier. So, but it takes a lot of practice. You've got to practice it. It's not going to take, you're not going to have results like that. You got to practice and practice and practice and keep seeing what kind of stuff you can get. Hold on, guys. Sorry, guys. Food order. So yeah, it's really hot here today. It's very hot, and so yeah, that's all about the fetch, and it's so interesting. We're just getting more inside of ourselves, and it's just it gives us a chance to to actually explore what's going on inside of us, and explore what's going on in the spiritual realms too, and it's really neat. So, what do you guys think? Anything? That's just a very, very simplified form of what the fetch is. So. Alright, Spirit Halloween. You guys are amazing. So the first thing I do, we walk in the doors. You have to wear face masks now, so everybody's, it's masking up. I think it's safe. I still wear my mask, yes, even though I have my two shots, and I'm gladly and willingly going to get my booster because I don't want this variant. But I just, I thought it was really interesting, really cool that they're taking all these safety precautions, especially for the Halloween store. Thank you. They had so much new stuff, but the first thing I did was like, okay, here's my number, here's my name. Anything Annabelle that comes in, please give me a call. So I did, because I'm in love with Annabelle, the character from the movie. And then I seen this. Hasbro, you guys are outdoing yourself this year. Look at that. That's beautiful. That is a beautiful Ouija journal. It's got on the sides Ouija. So, I don't know what I could do with this, but I just thought it was incredibly beautiful. A beautiful real leather journal. So, we have amazing, and it even has the patent. You can replace the paper. So there is the one of the original pictures, and then when we go inside, it's just a really, really neat. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I do not know what at all. And then in the back they have the one. It was patented by William Fold in Baltimore, Maryland, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So I really thought that was interesting. A pretty neat little journal there. But it's almost so nice that I don't want to actually use it, so I don't know. But alright, I will see you guys live here in just a little bit. So I love you guys. Please be safe, stay healthy, take breaks, lots of water, lots of shade, keep your dogs inside, keep your horses inside, I don't know, pigs, goats, anything, I don't know, little pygmy goats or, little pygmy pigs. Keep them all inside because it's really hot outside. But yeah, but most of all, take care of yourselves and stay healthy, please, for me. Don't be going nowhere. So I love you guys with all my heart, all the way from Venus, always, all the way back down. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So everybody have a good day and just stay cool. Don't get too overheated. Take care of yourselves, and I love you guys.